Hey everyone, I definitely appreciate that introduction. It's funny because even before I started, I always wanted to say thanks for coming to my TED Talk, and then Leah just said it, and so I'll let her have that for tonight. But I'll see a lot of familiar faces on here tonight, and that's a really good thing. I hope you are doing as best as you can right now. For those who don't know me, my name is Ahmad Boyd. I had the privilege of graduating from Ithaca College in the class of 2017. Since then, I've moved around quite a bit in a few different roles and in different capacities, but also in different locations. And right now, and as Josie said, I currently serve as the assistant director for student athlete services at Chicago State University. However, just going back, 11 months when the pandemic first hit, I was in Maine. And so working at a small private institution, very similar to Ithaca College in a lot of ways. And I'll talk about, what I learned during that time and also what I learned from transitioning from there to my current role. And it helped me really comprise the things I want to share with you tonight. So tonight I'll talk about five things in particular, and I won't be before you too long, but I'll share five things, and then I hope that you all can take some of them with you, if not all. The first thing I want to talk about is grace, right? And so I think it's important for everyone to give themselves grace right now. Over the last 9 months, we've been challenged with a lot academically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, right? So I want you to understand that during this time, it's okay to feel how you feel. Everything that you felt during these last 11 months, it's okay, right? If you can't do things at the same capacity that you were able to do it before, that's fine. If you find yourself not being able to do as much as you were able to do before, that's also fine. So give yourself grace and let yourself know it's okay, right? I know sometimes we could be our own biggest critic, but let's not do that in this time. The second thing I want to talk about is probably my favorite of the five, right? Or one of my favorites of the five is realigning your purpose. I think when I sat down, when the world really shut down and I was working from home, uh, late March of last year, I had some time to really focus in on what's truly important to me. Am I doing what I love? Am I close enough to my family? Am I fulfilling myself with my purpose work? Right. And so I spent a lot of time figuring out what's truly important. So I think you all have had that time as well. Whether you done so consciously or subconsciously, this time has truly shown us what's really important, right? What for example, what can be said, what can be an email instead of a meeting, what can be a phone call instead of a meeting as well, or like where am I at? Am I in the right major? Do I have the right internship? Do I have the right group of friends? People that support me, uplifting me, and helping me get through these times. So really figuring out what's important and realigning your purpose. The third thing is networking. So I'm pretty sure most of us, if not all of us on the call, have heard the phrase, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." I agree with that, but I'll also add something to it, right? It's not who you know, but it's who knows you. I think in this world, we thrive a lot of networking and connections. And if I can give a short story about where I'm at now at Chicago State University, I'm in a position that I didn't apply to. Someone reached out to me through a connection that I didn't know I had, right? And that comes from people amplifying your voice and your name in rooms that you have not had the pleasure of stepping in. And so I encourage you all to send that email, to make that phone call, send that Zoom invitation, send someone your availability for the next week, right? The worst they can do is not respond. And even if they don't, move on to the next. But I definitely encourage you to reach out to people in your industry or doing things that you want to do and ask questions, pick their brain. Information is always priceless, right? The fourth thing I'll share is about leaning into discomfort. So being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And we've heard that phrase a hundred times, right? But also, I want to dive a little deeper and tell you to not let your fears control your destiny. Growth is only uncomfortable because we've never experienced it. It's new to us, right? And so dive into that at your own pace, but be comfortable being uncomfortable. And please remove the idea that your fears will always be your fears. The last thing, and anyone who knows me or has been in close spaces with me knows my love for basketball, right? So my last thing is the title of my entire talk, and it's called Pivot, Don't Panic. And pivot is a move in a lot of sports, but referring to basketball, right? When I think of a pivot, I'm thinking of someone not changing their direction, but altering their path to get to the same, end goal, right? So if I'm going to the basket and a defender is coming at me, if I pivot, I'm not going the opposite way down the court. I'm moving out his way to get past him, but I'm still going to the same hoop, right? So you all have goals that you've had your entire life. So I want you to pivot as COVID has made us do. Remain adaptable, remain flexible, be willing to change, but don't sacrifice your goals. The last thing will share with you before I hand it off to Tanya is I'll leave you with a quote, right? And the quote is, "What's meant to be will always find its way." And I'll say that again: "What's meant to be will always find its way." And some of you are thinking to yourself, like, maybe, okay, that's a cliche. It sounds good, right? It sounds good, Ahmad, but it's a cliche. And I'll remind you that a cliche is only that because it was a good idea to begin with, right? So believe in yourself, believe in the work you've done up until this point, and trust everything you've done. So thank you all for allowing me to have my 5 to 6 minutes with you all. I truly appreciate it and do not take it for granted. Once again, it's good to see a lot of familiar faces, and I hope that you all are doing the best you can and continue to take care of yourselves.